Welcome, everyone. I'm Barb Chodas, President and Publisher of the San Diego Business Journal. And first, I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting the San Diego Business Journal by attending today's event to celebrate these amazing, inspiring, successful women in our community. This year's event theme is Speak Up and Stand Up, which was inspired by the following quote from Melinda Gates. Women speaking up for themselves and for those around them is the strongest force we have to change the world. Finalists, please stand up so we can applaud each and every one of you. And refer to the screen for a complete list of all of our finalists. Okay, congratulations again, finalists. Now I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors. These companies made the choice of recognizing women a priority. Without their support, this event would not be possible. Please join me in thanking our presenting sponsor, J.P. Morgan Chase & Company. Our platinum sponsors, Boutique Recruiting, City National Bank, Kaiser Permanente, and Palomar Health. And our gold sponsor, Cox Communications. Okay, everyone, another round of applause for all of our sponsors. All right, now it's time to begin our program, and we're gonna start by recognizing our 2022 Lifetime Achievement Award honoree, Mary Walshok. To introduce Mary and present her award, please join me in welcoming Malin Burnham, founder and board chairman of the Burnham Center for Community Advancement, and Mark Cafferty, president and CEO of San Diego Regional Economic Development Corporation. Malin, Mark.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure for me to be here standing in front of you for one reason, and that is that I have the privilege of introducing Mary Walshok, the first half of her career here in San Diego. So here we go. Mary is a longtime dear friend and collaborator, and it is my privilege to talk about Mary's early career that set the path to shape modern San Diego, and along with that, of course, the University of California at San Diego. I'll give you a short version, because if I listed everything, we'd be here for a long time. When Mary arrived at UCSD in 1972, there were only a handful of women in professional positions at the university. Mary changed that, accepting the role of Director of Women's Program at UCSD Extension. Her early career was focused on programs and research that advanced women returning to work and school. You might think way back in those years, women were not supposed to be up front and and leaders and that type of thing. And it was more of a man's world. Well, she has helped change that, as many of you other ladies have also done. So she created one of the early courses for television, as always, ahead of her time. In 1980, Mary became the dean at UCSD Extension in her late 30s. That's 30 years of age I'm talking about. Again, ahead of her time. In 1982, she launched an executive program for scientists and engineers, creating UCSD Connect, and launched the widely loved San Diego Dialogue Series and Leadership Forum, in which we discussed issues of the day. The new Burnham Center's community dialogue are modeled after Mary's invention. Thank you, Mary, for setting the bar so high, and we're still trying to hang on to it at that elevation. In 1983, she launched a multi-million-dollar federally funded program in higher education in sciences and humanitarian. In 1985, she catalyzed an extraordinary series called 25 Years of the Presidency with PBS, and she became UCSD's Associate Vice Chancellor for Public Programs. And I certainly do, and I know everybody around in this room looks at Mary as an outside public person, as well as a very much of a leader in the UCSD community, which is her main job, of course. Mary then started UCSD's UCTV, securing an antenna on Mount Soledad. That's a little hill behind La Jolla Village, and created the most watched university station in the US with a 1.3 million subscribers and monthly viewerships exceeding 5 million viewers. UCTV turns 30 this month, again, ahead of her time. Lastly, I'll share with you these milestones achieved alongside then Chancellor Dick Atkinson and many others I don't have time to mention, but are part of Mary's early legacy. Helped establish UC San Diego Extension and a significant force in our region and in the country. And that alone should be worthy of this award. But there is more to come. Mark?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am honored to be here. I'm honored to follow someone who is truly a mentor and a hero to me, and to speak about someone who is truly a mentor and a hero to me. My job, Mary, is to talk about the last 25 years of your career. I'd be lying if I said I knew you for 25 years. I've only known you for 22, because that's when I came to Boston, was from Boston to San Diego 22 years ago, but I knew of Mary Walshok before I got here. And the reason I did is for the last 30 years of my career, my focus has entirely been on the workforce and economic development systems at the local level within our nation. And to know anything about those systems is to know an awful lot about Mary Walshok's work. So before I came to San Diego and I was trying to figure out who I needed to know here and what I needed to learn about, I read about Connect. I read about an organization that was creating new businesses in San Diego, that was powering the innovation and the entrepreneurship that sometimes was getting locked in universities. And I read about Mary Walshok. I read about UCSD Extension and how it completely changed the way this region trained and retrained a workforce when it needed the university the most. Not to issue degrees, but to make sure that people were getting retrained for the new jobs that were being created as this economy grew. And when I read about that, I read about Mary Walshok. So for the last 22 years, I've had an opportunity to work closely with Mary. And to me, Mary Walshok is the storyteller of our economy, the poet of our economy. To hear Mary Walshok talk about our economy is to hear pure poetry. Even when you're talking about industry clusters in job training, and some of those things that don't sound like poetry normally. And so I feel like the best way I can pay tribute to Mary Walshok is to just share two stories. One was when I first came into this role at San Diego Regional EDC about 11 years ago. And Dwayne Roth and Malin Burnham and several key people had come to me to say, the Brookings Institution is making a key presentation up in LA, but we're gonna intercept them and we're gonna grab them and make sure they spend some time in San Diego. And we're gonna fill the room with the best people we can to convince them that as they're working with JP Chase on this huge global cities initiative, that they need to pay attention to San Diego, they need to pay attention to our mega region, and that we need to be part of that. And Dwayne Roth told me, you need to muscle your way into the room with them, Mark. Those were his exact words to me. So we got over to the Chamber of Commerce. It was still being led by Ruben Morales at the time. Jerry Sanders was our mayor. Carlos Bustamante was the mayor of Tijuana at the time. JP Chase and Brookings had Mayor Daley from Chicago with them. He was the third most impressive mayor in the room that day, as our two folks certainly sort of outweighed him when they talked about their partnership in a true binational, a true international, a true global city. But it was Mary Walshok in the middle of that presentation that stopped Bruce Katz, who was their economist at the time making the presentation, and wove together a story about this binational region that he could not ignore. To watch him in that moment, he was writing notes, he was listening to Mary, and he knew that we were a place that Brookings needed to pay attention to. Made my job of muscling into the room with them much easier. 11 years later, our partnership with Brookings has changed the way we see our economy, has changed the work that we do, and that's because of Mary Walshok. And the last thing I'll tell you is this. I was just telling friends at another table, we just moved into the Park and Market building. Our 25-person team at EDC just moved into the new Park and Market building. We have worked in the Union Bank building in downtown San Diego for a long time, and it's a great building. But when I would walk out of the elevator every morning, I would be greeted by the security guard. I'd talk to him a little bit. I'd head upstairs to our office. I'd engage with our team. And I didn't see another partner until the work started, until we were kind of out in the flows of everything. Now, when I get out of my car, I see people I haven't seen in a long time, and they want to come up and give me hugs. When I don't know them and I'm in the elevator with them, they say, you're with the EDC. We've heard all about you. Is your whole team here yet? Everywhere I go, it's a constant connection with people. And 4 years ago, when Mary told me we needed to be in that building, she painted that picture for me 4 years ago. And every day when I get out of the elevator, it looks just like you promised it would. And a friend of mine many years ago, Mary, said, friendship is wonderful, but friendship in a cause is powerful. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of lots of people for these wonderfully powerful years. Thank you.
We'll do it together. Yeah.
Okay. I don't really have trouble walking. It's a way to get men to help me. About 25 years ago, I broke my ankle. I was significantly younger and slimmer. And every time I'd get on an airplane, some gorgeous man would come up to me and say, how'd you break your leg, lady? Skiing? Skydiving? You know, it was, and I realized I just should live in a cast for the rest of my life. So thank you, my good friends. I've been asked to make a few remarks, and I did it on an airplane from Heathrow last night. I put some words together. I'm not going to take too long. But I really want to share this with everyone in the room, but especially women. Many of you know I celebrated my 80th birthday in September. And yes! But Malin Burnham celebrated his 95th this weekend. So I'm never going to keep up with the man. But I do think that what Malin and I, and a lot of us who've had a lot of longevity, share are kind of what I'd like to share with you in about 5 minutes. Is that okay, Barb? 6 habits of mind and practice which enhance both a meaningful life but also a successful life. And I love alliteration, so they all start with C, okay? So I think one of the most important things in terms of people like us who are trying to make a difference in our businesses or in our community is we begin with the notion that it's really complicated, right? Everything's complex. There are no easy solutions. Now, it helped that I grew up in a Swedish-speaking home, and my mother took us to Europe as soon as World War II was over, and I saw bombed out London. I saw kids picking up cigarette butts on the streets of Rome, and I lived in Palm Springs, California. We did not have a pink Cadillac, but my father bought a new Oldsmobile every 2 years. So when you grow up recognizing, gee, different people around the world for different reasons are living in more complicated circumstances, you get a PhD in sociology. Okay. Now, in addition to complexity, I think what I learned is the power, and Malin and I share this, of connectivity, of relationships. And as a girl, I was an athlete, and I was a late bloomer, so I had lots of boy friends. And I think one of the essential qualities of success and of joy in life and in work is being able to work in complicated groupings with diverse people across ages and stages and genders and races. And boy, in the world we live in today, that kind of connectivity is really, really important. But then there's a third thing. I am a university person, competency. There are no free rides, gangs. You can have all the personality in the world and all the friends in the world, but you got to bring something real to the relationship and real to the work. And some of you, I think, were even at a TED Talk I gave, which was about you got to have heart, not just STEM careered people, because hands-on skills are as valuable as being a rocket scientist. And I actually got invited to SpaceX after giving that TED Talk, because as they explained to me, to get to get a rocket in space, you needed a few rocket scientists, but a hell of a lot of good technical people. So what I'm talking about when I talk about competence is we have to know stuff, we have to be able to do stuff, and we have to put in the time. So whether you're a tennis player or a pianist, you're an Olympic athlete, a plumber, a surgeon, a rocket scientist, or my local carpenter, you gotta be competent. So a couple more, and then I'm gonna conclude, because I do think these are important. And one is we have to ourselves and teach those who live and work with us how to be open to change, to recognize that change is occurring, to be open to it and to embrace it. I call it being ready for unplanned for challenges and opportunities. Having been a woman of my age at my time, there was no clear path. But God bless my immigrant parents, for whom there was no clear path. I saw role models of people who figured out how to create their own path. And change comes because we don't take for granted what's coming in front of us, but we're able to recognize and adapt to change us. And those changes today, my fifth C word, are chaotic. They're random, they're unexpected events that can change the world. Think about meteors and dinosaurs. Think about the Black Plague in the Middle Ages, and today, global warming and natural disasters. So everybody says we need a plan, we need management by objectives, but what we really need is the ability to respond to a chaotic situation, create new plans, and adapt those plans almost every day. And I think that habit of the mind and practice really works. Now, those 5 principles result for me in what is also essential: confidence. You need to feel good about what you're doing. You need to not be apologizing. I'm Swedish. All Swedes begin a sentence with an apology. I know I don't know very much about this topic, but I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I had a Jewish husband, so he rescued me. And I think it's very, very important to have this sense, because you know you can adapt, you know you understand change, you know you have relationships, and you know you're smart as hell. So to be confident. And finally, I say this looking at Barb, I would add a seventh, rather spontaneously, celebrations. We need to do a good job of celebrating loved ones, excellence, resilience, and yes, even achievements. So thank you very much for celebrating me.
Congratulations, Mary, on this well-deserved recognition. All right, now we're honored to present to all of you a panel discussion on our topic, Speak Up and Stand Up. At a time when women's rights are being challenged in so many different ways, it's more critical than ever to find our voice, to speak up confidently and consistently, and to stand up for one another by lifting each other up, supporting and mentoring each other. Today's panelists will be sharing with all of you strategies and ideas on how to speak up for yourself and how to stand up for each other. In addition to offering tips and suggestions, they will be sharing their own experiences. And everyone, there are notebooks and pens on your table in case you like to take notes. And panelists, when your name is called, please come and join me on the stage. Our first panelist is Maria Chan, Senior Vice President and Team Lead, San Diego Commercial Banking Group, City National Bank. Our next panelist is Jane Finley, Senior Vice President and Area Manager, Kaiser Permanente. Next, join me in welcoming Diane Hansen, President and CEO, Palomar Health. Also joining us is Kelly Shoup, Managing Director, Divisional Director, Business Banking, Chase Bank. And our final panelist is Sima Zavalunova, Chief Operating Officer, Boutique Recruiting. Okay, panelists, let's get started. The first topic for our discussion is speaking up. And panelists, will each of you please share first what speaking up means to you, and then please share your thoughts on best ways to do this and any experiences that led to a successful outcome. So Maria, let's start with you.
Thank you, Barb. I really very much appreciate this opportunity to speak on this distinguished panel, and obviously to celebrate all of you, the finalists. All of you have been successful because you have spoke up and stood up in your various organizations, in your workplaces. And so one of the things I wanted to do is really talk about how timely this topic is. When I thought about it, I think it's such a great time right now to be in business as a woman. And I believe that we are finally being heard because there are so many more women in leadership positions these days. Especially in my company, I've been in banking for 25 years, and I finally work for a bank that has a woman at the top. So in my position, I really support a lot of entrepreneurs, middle market companies, and primarily nonprofit organizations, and they are led by very extraordinary women. And I wanted to share a story of one of my clients, long-term clients, who in her workplace, she started off rising her way up. She was the VP of Finance for 15 years, and she was waiting to be the CFO at some point. And so finally the CFO, the long-term CFO retired, and she was able to have that opportunity. She went through the interviews, and she kind of discovered through that process that there were some people on the board that were doubting her and her abilities because she was a woman, even in this day and age. They also doubted that, you know, she could transition well into that role. She was a mother of 4, and she also had, she perceived that they didn't think she dressed the part. So, you know, she started doubting herself, really started questioning whether she was the right person for the job. And when she shared that story with me, I kind of basically told her 2 things. I said, you really need to find some allies at the board level and at the executive level to really advocate for you. And number 2, really encouraged her to communicate directly about her being the best person for the job, as well as making sure that she communicated and ever so nicely that if someone else was chosen, that she might not be there to train the new CFO. So fortunately, all that worked. She believed in herself, she got the confidence, and she was able to articulate those messages. She's been thriving and mentoring other women in her organization, and just thought that was a great story of how, you know, really we need to be more direct in our messaging.
Great. Thanks, Maria. All right, Jane.
Well, I'm also delighted to be here today and just see the power in this room and to feel it, and really appreciate all the work that everybody has done to advance our business community and to do it for the lens of our gender. Speak up means to me speaking your truth. It means really understanding what your truth is and where it comes from. I'm going to add on to what Mary talked about, being competent, because it's about knowledge, skills, and abilities. And with that knowledge, skills, and abilities, you have a truth that you share. You have a responsibility, actually, to the people that you work with and the communities you serve to speak your truth, because they won't get better without you. So you actually have a moral responsibility to think about around speaking up. Because your truth matters. It matters in every situation that you're in, because you've worked hard. You understand the situation, you understand the complexity, you're ready there to manage the chaos that we're living in every day. So it is key for you to speak up. I've been very fortunate because I've been working in an industry, as Diane, that is primarily women. But women haven't been in leadership positions for very long. And I have been working for a long time. And actually, my grand boss, who hired me 38 years ago, is actually in the room. And what my grand boss taught me was get educated, understand, and speak your truth and speak up. With that, you actually carve out more places to be. You don't wait to be invited to the party, you go to the party, because you have a responsibility to talk and to speak up. So for me, I think one of the biggest things to do, and part of speaking up, is also being a very good listener. You cannot encourage people to speak up if you yourself are not going to listen. It's a two-way street. So as you speak up, you also have a responsibility to ask others to speak up and also to listen. And then you complete the chain and you move it forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Diane?
All right. We're going to leave her. Is it on?
Yes.
Okay, can you hear me? All right. I was going to try to pull it out, but no, it's not. It's resisting, so we're going to leave it right there. I want to say ditto to everything that Jane just said. Very articulate. There was so much packed in there. The one thing I would add is managing each other up, right? I do think you have to be true to yourself. You have to be willing to take risks. And I think, you know, when we talk about women, that's the one thing we're not really good at, right? We're not. If you look at most of the gentlemen in this room, and I applaud everyone for being here and supporting this entire group of nominees, But men are typically better at taking risks than women. And I would encourage you, as part of speaking up, to be willing to take risks, to talk about what other things you can take on as an employee or in your personal life or whatever that might be. But again, I love what you said about being true to yourself, speaking your truth. And I would encourage everybody to manage each other up. I think that's the best way. All boats rise together. So thank you.
Great. All right. Next, Kelly.
That was really well said. Excuse me. So I think for me, speaking up is having the confidence in yourself to kind of find your place in the room, on a team, knowing when that time is. But it's really hard to find the courage and the confidence to know when that right time or to know kind of where your place is. Many years ago, I was starting in a new role. I was super excited. And one of my colleagues said to me on my first day, "Hey, you know you were only hired because we needed a female on the team, right?" So I decided right then and there I was going to speak up, but I wanted to do it a little bit differently. I decided to do it in action rather than word. I knew I was in the right place. I knew I was excited to be there, and I wanted to prove it. But it was a really, really hard lesson to learn. And I didn't want it to happen to anyone else. It did create a little bit of an awareness in me that I don't know would have been there if I didn't have that experience. And for me, I've carried it with me, and I think it's made me a better person, and it's created, or it's helped me to pay better attention to what happens around me so that I have been able to have the confidence and the courage to speak up, not only when something I think is not right, but when I see things happening to others, that I have a voice and can be able to speak up on behalf of them as well.
Great. Thank you, Kelly. All right. And Seema.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so speaking up for me is exactly what everybody has said on the panel so far, but it's really speaking your truth and ensuring your ideas, thoughts, and requests are really being heard. I'll share an example. At boutique recruiting, sharing your truth and speaking up is not just encouraged, but it's more of a requirement. At boutique, we really feel that business is successful and grows when everybody is speaking up and is able to really bring to the table different ideas and their perspectives. Because when people stay silent, we don't grow. And that's really how we have progressed and have been successful, is just by letting everybody speak up and wanting to actually hear from everybody in different perspectives.
Great. All right. Thanks, everyone. All right, for the next topic, standing up for each other. And Maria, let's start again with you. A few things that women can do to support and stand up for each other, and any experiences that you can share as well.
Yeah, thanks, Barb. I took a broader view on this. Instead of sharing my personal, it's really more to share what we're doing at City National to really encourage our colleagues and clients and our communities to help support and stand up. First and foremost, we implemented programs to encourage our colleagues to support each other. During the pandemic, we kind of supercharged our DEI efforts. We expanded our colleague resource groups specifically, and our colleague resource groups are groups that allow colleagues to join that have similar backgrounds, similar identities, and really help and support the personal and professional development. I'm a part of the Asian American Network as well as the Women's Network, the largest. But those groups, I've attended many of the events, I've helped organize them, and some of the events also I've attended with other resource groups so that I could educate myself, and it gives us the opportunity to educate ourselves so that we can support other groups as well. Number two is really sponsoring and promoting events that really align with your own organization's values and these values to move that movement forward. Obviously, we're sponsoring this event, which is so fantastic, and it aligns with our values. And we also recently, City National sponsored an event in LA with the LA Times that promoted the most influential women in business. And so, that kind of thing, I think, really speaks to not only yourself, but everybody in the organization. And then finally, to attract and promote women and diversity in leadership positions. Our company set like very specific DEI goals. In our industry, obviously, is pretty male-dominated at the senior levels, and we set we wanted to achieve 40% of female representation at senior levels and 37% of people of color to be represented at those levels. And so we now have over 31% of women at SVP levels than we did in pre-pandemic, but there's so much more we can do in this area. So I just wanted to share those specific things that we've done as a company.
Great. Thank you, Maria. All right, Jane.
Maria, I think you hit the nail on the head. This doesn't happen by accident. Standing up is something that has to be planned. There has to be a systematic approach to it. There needs to be clear objectives and clear goals. Kaiser Permanente, we have Belong at KP as a foundational education program, and it's really about people literacy, just to kind of make up a word here on the fly. But it really is about understanding what everybody brings to the table. It is a very targeted program to ensure that we are listening to everybody within the organization, making sure that we're being sensitive and advocating for people of all races and genders and non-binary, et cetera. So it has to be very systematic to make that happen. But within that, there have to be individual champions. There have to be, each one of you has the potential, just being here today, of being a champion, for looking out for somebody, for helping right a wrong, somebody who might have been passed over in a conversation, to stop the conversation and call them out, not to call them out, but to encourage them to speak up. So I think it's a combination of a very systematic approach, but a series of champions that will take on the ownership of having all boats rise and to have everyone have a voice heard. And again, it strengthens the team, and it strengthens the work that you will do together as a team, whether in a business, the public sector, or in broader community engagement support.
Great. Thank you, Jane. All right, Diane.
Thank you. I'm going to tell a little bit of a personal story about me and about one of my amazing leaders. Many of you know Sheila Brown, and she might kill me after this for saying this out to you all, but shortly after I stepped into this role as CEO for Palomar Health, I was looking for really strong leaders to help me transform the organization. And Sheila was one of those folks that I had worked with and had known the success in her areas, the team she had built, and that yet she never quite had an opportunity to step up into a chief or a senior executive role. And I thought, how great would it be? I know how good she is, but let's see how good she can be. And so I approached her and asked her if she would be my chief operations officer. Well, she almost fell out of her chair, and then tears immediately sprung to her eyes. And she said, and I get a little bit misty when I talk about this because it was super meaningful to me as a leader who provided an opportunity to somebody who deserved it, right? She had been in the organization for more than 25 years and had never been given an opportunity to step into a leadership role and prove how good she could be. And so to this day, I value, she's semi-retired now. She says she's retired, she's not really. We have her doing a lot of work with us, but an amazing leader, an amazing person, someone who has a bigger heart than most others I know. And I'm so grateful that she took on that challenge. She never thought she'd have the opportunity. So my advice to all of you is find those ways to give people opportunities, right? Let's see how good they can be. I promise you, you won't be disappointed.
Great. Thank you, Diane. All right, Kelly.
So how many of you have ever taken the opportunity to speak up but did not get the response that you were looking for or maybe felt like you were alone in the room. For sure, that has been me. So there are a couple of things that I try to remember when I think that this might happen. Number one, I plan ahead. So if I get that meeting invite, I'm looking through the email to see who else is on, the calendar invite, who else will be attending, and I reach out to someone that I know prior and say, hey, let's collaborate, let's support one another, let's be an advocate for each other's ideas. And it brings a little bit more comfort heading into something, making sure that you don't feel like you're alone in the room or that maybe you're not getting the response you're looking for. Allies were mentioned a little bit earlier. I take a lot of time to grow the relationships I have with my allies. Allyship brings trust and confidence to a team, and when you have that allyship in your team, the team actually ends up performing better than it would otherwise. So the relationships with allies are important, both men and women, it doesn't matter. I want to know that I have an advocate for me, and I want the other side to know that I will absolutely be an advocate for them. And then the third thing I do, JP Chase has an amazing resource called Women on the Move. This is a network of women, provides education, career development skills, and really just surrounds the women within our firm to build them up and give them a voice to speak up. If you do not have an opportunity to be a part of something like this, I would suggest that you create one on your own. We have amazing leaders across this room today, and I know there are many that would love to be a part of something like that. I am super fortunate to be in the position that I am in. I am not the first woman to hold the position. I will definitely not be the last, but I do have a responsibility to make sure that I continue to advocate and speak up. Chase Bank has a focus on inclusion, and it gives all of us within the firm a comfort to be able to speak up when we know that it is right and when we need to say something.
Great, thank you, Kelly. All right, Seema.
Okay, so I think there's, in the stand-up, there's three things that I think is really important to do to ensure that women are being heard. One is really celebrating women, and I think it just says so much when women are celebrating each other for their accomplishments and reaching their goals. We internally at our company, we actually have a Slack channel dedicated to really recognizing everybody's achievements, from something really small as completing a project to something really large where they're speaking out and they're going above and beyond. And what's incredible is that these women within our company, because primarily we have majority women, but they're calling each other out and they're speaking out on each other's behalfs, and it just really creates this very collaborative environment where everybody wants to see each other succeed. Secondly, I would think that mentorship is really important. Women who are starting off their career to be under a wing of somebody who's more seasoned really helps them get a guidance and have a path for them. And this way, it's also not like a manager providing feedback, but allowing them to give insightful guidance without having it be from a management perspective. We also actually incorporated a buddy system within our company where a newer employee would get tagged with a more seasoned employee. And that really helped not just bond everybody, but it allows them to stand up and speak up and be able to have somebody that they can speak with directly. And lastly, I think really encouraging women to speak within, meetings or conferences. A lot of times when we have meetings at work, there's a core group that's always speaking up. But it's important to call upon the ones that don't always speak up and understand what their thought process is and their opinions, because they bring value and something different to the table that might not be known unless we are actually pointing out to them.
Great, thank you. Okay, now we're going to conclude our discussion, leaving one final thought on speaking up and standing out. Maria, let's start with you. Your final thought that you want everybody to take away.
Yeah, my final thought, I was inspired by my teenage daughter. I won an award last month in the company, and I text a picture of me receiving that award, and she texts back, "Slay, girl boss," in all caps, of course. So I feel that we need to create and mentor girl bosses, and particularly all the leaders in this room. We need to, be mentors, men and women, to females. I think we finally have that access. 2 women leaders, which we did not in the past. And so my final thought is if everybody in this room could mentor 1 colleague within your organization or out, I think that would be so powerful. So go girl bosses.
Right, thank you. All right, Jane.
Well, I got my inspiration for the final thought in a construction trailer for a project we have in North County where we're building another hospital. And we very purposefully, Kaiser Permanente very purposely asked the construction manager to shift the balance of women in the construction leadership, and they are actually 45% female leaders in that construction project. And if we look at the technical people going in with the architects and the engineers, it's 55% women on that project. And I'm very, very proud of the organization for that and looking forward. So what's my inspiration from the women's bathroom at the construction project? The sign they put up, girls compete with each other, women empower one another.
Woo. All right, Diane.
I love that. And Maria, I just want to say, I love what your daughter said. Usually my kids, the text I get when I tell them I'm coming to one of these events is, Mom, just don't embarrass the fam. So that's how my texts usually go. But no, you know what? I think today's event kind of says it all. And I echo what you all have said. You know, just do the right thing, right? Treat people fairly, be kind to each other, be respectful. And I think if we're all doing that, right, what a better place this whole world's going to be.
All right, thank you. All right, Kelly.
Such good comments. So every single day, 200,000 plus JP Morgan Chase employees log on for work. And every single day, they are greeted by a simple phrase, you belong here. It's super simple. Sometimes I think we miss it. But it's a culture that's been created to remind us that we are better together. So I would leave you with just that. You belong here. You've worked hard. You're in this room today. You belong here. Do not forget it.
Great, thank you. All right, and our final thought, Seema.
So my final thought is, don't let fear get in the way of your growth. Push yourself, know your worth, and approach the situation with tact, with strategy. Be prepared for it, but just go for it.
Great. All right, a round of applause for all of our panelists. Thank you so much. All right, now it is time to present our Businesswomen of the Year awards. We had an incredible year of participation with hundreds of nominations representing a wide variety of industries. Nominations are submitted by the community, and the Business Journal's executive team selects the finalists. And independent judges select the winners. Please join me in thanking our judges, Brita Blake, Maria Chan, Christina Devaka, Lisa Easterly, Josie Flores-Clark, Teresa Jocks, and Pam Schuler. Our judges had a very difficult task of selecting these winners. Please join me in a round of applause for all of them. And today we're presenting a total of 13 awards representing the following categories: Rising Star, Nonprofits, and Small, Medium, and Large Companies. Winners, when you hear your name, please come to the stage to accept your award, and you will have a few moments for remarks. And at the end of the program, please come back to the stage for a group picture with your trophy. Now, since the winners are not known prior to this event, not all winners may be present. So if there's a representative here from the winner's company, please feel free to come up and accept the award. So now it's time to announce our winners. Presenters, when I call your name, please come to the stage. Our first presenter for the Rising Star category is Jack Durall, Sales Account Manager, Boutique Recruiting.
Thank you, Barb. It's a pleasure to be here recognizing these amazing women. The first award is Rising Star of the Year. This award recognizes women who have been in C-suite positions for 3 years or less at their company. And the winner is Viridiana, Vice President of Student Affairs for the California State University of San Marcos. In her short time at Cal State San Marcos, Viridiana has made a tremendous impact on the lives of Cal State San Marcos students. She was successful in securing $1.74 million in over a 5-year period for the college's TRIO Student Success Program, as well as $6 million over 3 years for the Veterans to Energy Careers Program from the Office of Naval Research. The other initiatives, Viridiana secured funding for include a project to empower formerly incarcerated individuals and those impacted by the criminal justice system by advocating for access to higher education and offering support services in a program serving students from migrant and seasonal farm working backgrounds. Please join me in congratulating Viridiana Diaz.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored and quite shocked. I had an opportunity to look at the bios of many of the nominees, and they're all so inspirational, and I share this award with all of them. I am lucky and privileged to work in higher education and have an opportunity to work with students and witness their growth and development and their transformation. And by doing so, seeing them transform not just their lives, but their families and their communities. So for me, what I do is a mission, and it's something that I love and that excites me to wake up each morning and move forward. And I really consider it an honor. Thank you for having me.
All right, our next presenter is Roger Doherty, Senior Director, Public Affairs and Communications, Kaiser Permanente. He will be presenting the awards in the nonprofit category.
Thanks, Barb. On behalf of Kaiser Permanente, it's our honor to present the winners in the nonprofit category. The first winner is Tanya Duggan, Director of Communications and Government Relations for the Rincon Band of the Luiseño Indians. Tanya has over 22 years of professional experience in media, public relations, public policy, and project management. For the last 5 years, Tanya has elevated the footprint of the Rincon tribe by expanding communications and bridging government relations between federal, state, and local agencies and organizations. Her relationship-building efforts led to many organizations receiving contributions from Rincon. These organizations include Final Honor, the San Diego Food Bank, Feeding San Diego, Boy Scouts, the San Diego Restaurant Association, Rescue Ranch, San Diego Burn Institute, and Rady Children's Ice Rink. Tanya was also responsible for the rebranding of the name of the Rincon Band of Luiseño Indians to Rincon Tribe, which made it easier to say, print, and more recognizable to the public and media. Please join me in congratulating Tanya.
I always know what to say, and I just don't know what to say. I'm deeply humbled. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I always tell my daughter, work hard and everything else will fall into place and will come easy. I just want to thank a couple of people here with me today supporting me. Thank you so much to the Rincon tribe. Thank you so much to the Rincon tribe for your support and your trust. It means so much to me to work with a team that you have that, you know. I get to go play and they trust me. So I thank you so much to my boss, to my former boss, Senator Ben Wessow, so he's here today. I just want to say thank you so much for your friendship and your loyalty. It means so much to me. Thank you so much. To Chris Duggan, thank you so much for pushing me. You've been there for me even when I haven't believed in myself. Thank you so much. To my little girl, Sienna, You're my rock. You're my foundation. You're the one that keeps me grounded. You're the one that inspires me. Thank you so much, Sienna, for just being you. You keep me wanting to be better, and I thank you for that. And to all of my nominees, thank you so much. What a wonderful, dynamic room full of women. Wow. You inspire me, and you inspire the women and people around you. Thank you for all that you do. To the San Diego Business Journal, I just want to say thank you so much for, I'm deeply humbled, and I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you.
Our next winner is Kelly Feuillet, Controller, San Diego Foundation. Kelly leads all facets of financial reporting and back office administration for the San Diego Foundation. Since the pandemic, her work has enabled the foundation to provide more than $250 million to local nonprofits, processing over 10,000 grants, and leading the organization through complex federal award compliance and associated audit matters for the foundation's programs efforts. This included the provision of healthcare worker vouchers, child care provider financial support, computers to bridge the digital divide, summer learning camps, and small business relief funding. This year, Kelly has also launched the accounting systems for the San Diego Regional Policy and Innovation Center, a foundation affiliate and consolidating entity, and successfully completed the new Children's Financial Reporting and Audit, new Center's Financial Reporting and Audit, sorry. Please join me in congratulating Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm stunned. When my boss Jim told me that they nominated me for this, I'm like, but I'm in the back. I'm doing accounting. I don't do forward facing. And he's like, no, you do. And I appreciate the San Diego Foundation so much. COVID was such an opportunity for us to really show how we could support our community and help people. And I've worked in a number of industries in accounting, and I get so much fulfillment of being with San Diego Foundation. So thank you to all of you for what you do every day. We have a great team there. This is a team effort. It cannot be done alone. I'd like to thank the Business Journal for the nomination and for the award. It's humbling. It's incredible. This topic is stand up and speak up. And my daughter recently started middle school. She came home one day and said, these kids cut in line at lunch. She takes a lot of pride in getting to the lunch line first. And she's like, these kids cut in line. And when I told on them, they said, you're a snitch. And I said, okay, well, you understand that you didn't do anything wrong. I'm like, but you have two choices. You can either let them cut in line and not say anything, or you speak up and say that it's wrong, but then they might call you a snitch. And she's like, oh, I'm gonna say something. So I have a lot of faith in the young girls that are coming up. Thank you very much again for this award. I'm humbled and I'm so excited. Thank you.
Our final winner in the nonprofit category is Nancy Sasaki, President and CEO of the United Way of San Diego County. I thought I saw Nancy. There she is. Okay, great. For the last 4 years, Nancy has proven unparalleled leadership as the CEO of the United Way of San Diego, for the United Way of San Diego. She often engages side by side with her team, proudly distributing school supplies to elementary school students or lifting boxes and packaging food at the local food bank, working at a community garden cleanup, or walking for a cause. Additionally, Nancy ensures United Way's reputation in the community by maintaining successful partnerships with the corporate partners and local organizations that they serve. Her vision for success has resulted in the implementation of programs that benefit low-income communities, like providing tax preparation services to help access earned income tax credit refunds, the literacy programs that provide books to young students. Please join me in congratulating Nancy.
I'm definitely surprised. I thought after they named two, we were done with the nonprofit group, so definitely surprised. But I definitely want to thank the Business Journal for this recognition, for this opportunity, and to be recognizing women in business. I'm honored to be a part of this group of amazing women who were nominated as business leaders, and I'll tell y'all that is not an anomaly, that there are so many women as business leaders. I wouldn't be here today without a strong team of people around me, including my board chair who's here with me today, Jacob Richards, thank you. I also wouldn't be here without education, which afforded me the ability to have economic mobility. That is why United Way is focused on education and economic mobility, and that we're focused on closing the racial gaps in education, milestones, and economic mobility. We are uniters. We work in partnership with others to get this work done. All of us learned in the pandemic that we can't do it alone. We need our partners. We also ignite the fight for those children with no voice in our community, their education achievement, and also ignite the fight in the community for those to support us. We are driven by data to show that the impact we have is having an important impact on our kids, and our partners are having in the community. We as a community all need to care about our children and young adults so they have the same opportunities in the future as all of us have had in this room. Thank you again.
Okay, now please join me in welcoming back our next award presenter, Maria Chain, who will be presenting the winners in the small company category.
Thank you, Barb. And on behalf of City National Bank, it is my pleasure to present the winners in the small company category. The first winner is Danielle Carpenter, Chief Financial Officer and Chief Operating Officer for Xceptional. Danielle has played a significant role in Xceptional's expansion, including this year's negotiating the financing for the company's first acquisition. She assisted with the vetting and prospecting of all potential acquisition prospects by driving financial, operations, and cultural fit analysis. With the acquisition of Altitude Integrations closed, she spearheaded integration processes and within 3 months integrated financial and communication processes and they're set up to be on track to be fully integrated with Xceptional by the end of this year. Under Danielle's leadership as COO and CFO, Xceptional has seen tremendous growth in gender and ethnic diversity, hitting 40% female and 40% self-identified ethnic minority staffing. And she is already undertaking exciting 2023 initiatives to obtain certified B Corp status and formalize Xceptional's DEI program. Please join me in congratulating Danielle.
Thank you so much. I'm honored and very surprised. I did not prepare a speech. It's amazing to be in this room full of powerful women. I can't believe that I'm among your ranks. I want to thank my team at Xceptional, my teammate Betsy McEwen over there, who is another finalist, our CEO and founder, Chris McEwen, the board of directors, including my mentor, Larry Johns. I'd like to thank my husband and my family, and thank you all for being so supportive.
The next winner in our small company category is Shawnda Dorantes, founder of Beauty Lounge Medical Spa. In just 6 years, here she comes. Shawnda has grown the Beauty Lounge Medical Spa from the ground up, establishing a loyal clientele and building her team. During the height of the pandemic, she hired 10 working professionals to her team. She also spearheaded the spa's expansion to a new state-of-the-art facility. As a San Diego native, Shawnda is dedicated to supporting her community, especially her Latino community. In 2021, she donated funds to provide embroidered white lab coats to students graduating from Del Norte High School's biomedical pathway. That same year, she also earned her Master's of Science in Nursing from the United States University in San Diego to become a full and certified family nurse practitioner, offering clients medical weight loss, management of acne, chirotherapy services, and more. Please join me in congratulating Shawnda.
Wow, I'm so shocked. I wasn't expecting to be up here today, but nonetheless, I'm so honored and humbled to stand before you all. I feel like such a little fish in a big sea. I can only imagine where we're going to be in the next few years, and I'm just so excited and honored to give back to my community and be a presence and lead and mentor other women to follow my footsteps and try to be that guiding light and force for them to find their place here in the community. But thank you again so much.
And the final winner in the small company category is Denise DeMan, founder, chairman, and CEO of Bench International. DeeDee has made a significant impact on the life science community through Bench International by recruiting and making executive placements in the global biotech sector. For more than 45 years, Bench has had a remarkable track record of performance. Under her leadership, Bench International has reached some incredible milestones over the last year, including growing revenue in fiscal 2021, 21% over fiscal year 2020. Also, 60% of Bench's hires in the last year have either met or exceeded diversity standards. DeeDee is also a leader in industry and charitable organizations such as Biocom, Life Science Cares, Learning Forum International, Making Great Kids Greater, Healthcare Business Women's Association, and the Bank of Women. Wow, that's a lot. Please join me in congratulating Denise.
Okay, the three most important words for a CEO is I was wrong. I sat there saying, with all these amazing women, there's no chance. So thank you. Thank you, San Diego Business Journal. Thank you, judges. Thank you, all my fellow women leaders. It's a hell of a climb. And I'm so proud of all of you for having broken either the glass or the cement ceiling to be where you are today. I would not be here, and none of us would be here as leaders without our team. And so I salute my team around the world and the two who are here today. And I also salute my other team member, my husband and life partner who puts up with all of this, my wonderful David. One of the things I have had to learn in the last almost 50 years of doing this is that the fundamental driver of a CEO is generosity of spirit. And I know that the more we give, the more abundance we receive, as do our colleagues. And so with that, I'm grateful to San Diego for welcoming us as a newly moved in global headquarters into San Diego. And thank you so much for your abundant hearts.
Okay, now let's welcome back Diane Hansen, who will announce the winners in the medium-sized company category.
Awesome. Thank you, Barb. Palomar Health is proud to be a sponsor of the San Diego Business Journal Women's event. And it is truly my privilege to present the recipients in the medium-sized company category. The first winner in the medium-sized company category is Claudia Ibarra. She is the Chief Operating Officer for DermTech. As COO at DermTech, Claudia has helped lead the organization during a time of rapid growth. Despite challenges brought on by the pandemic, she increased lab capacity more than threefold since joining the company in 2019. Today, Claudia is preparing for an even broader lab expansion as DermTech plans to open a new 20,000 square foot lab space this year. She also grew her operations team by an impressive 50% from 2020 to 2021. Prior to her joining DermTech, the lab team was comprised of less than 10 members. Today, there are more than 35. Claudia is also spearheading DermTech's California Molecular Training Program that gives employees with Bachelor of Science degrees the opportunity to become clinical laboratory scientists. This initiative is helping offset California's shortage of employees in the diagnostic industry. Please join me in congratulating Claudia.
Well, this is truly a surprise for me, and I'm very humbled and honored to receive this award. As many of you said, I couldn't have done it with my team. One of them is here with me, Kelly, a young, talented professional that we worked together during the pandemic to keep the lab open, to keep testing for our patients. So in my industry, it's a very female-dominated profession. So I had the opportunity to work with many talented and smart women, challenging themselves and helping them to look for their path, helping with their goals, and to stand up and speak up. Thank you very much, the Business Journal, and everybody here. Thank you. And I would like to share this award with all of you too. Thank you.
So the next winner in the medium-sized company category is Dr. Lisa Ordonez. Lisa is the Dean, Rady School of Management at UC San Diego. Dr. Ordonez was appointed Dean of UC San Diego's Rady School of Management in September of 2019 and has already made a lasting impact on the school in just a few short years. She led the Rady School through an unprecedented pandemic, emerging stronger than ever with the highest enrollments in the school's 18-year history. Under her guidance, the school launched the Rady School Business Recovery Coalition to help businesses in the San Diego region navigate the unprecedented challenges faced by COVID-19. The initiative drew on expertise from the UC San Diego community to provide immediate pro bono assistance and guidance to San Diego businesses. Recently, Dean Ordonez hired 7 new faculty members with a cluster hire in inclusive excellence to support equity, diversity, and inclusion at the school and in business practice more broadly. Please join me in congratulating Lisa.
Okay, I promised I'd say this if I got up here. It's about time. No, thank you. I'm really very surprised, as all of us are. You know, I love my job. I get to change lives because education changed my life. I grew up in Central California on a ranch of parents who didn't even go to high school. So this is a big deal for me. But as dean, I don't do anything. My team over here does it all, right? And I get to lead an incredible group, and I just want to shout out to my wonderful team of leaders. We have Liz and Tony and Wendy, and we have a leader of our master's programs, Jim, our entrepreneurship center leader, Tim, and we have Julia Brown, who's on my board and an amazing individual and knows everybody. She knows most of you. So, and we have one of our students, actually two of our students, one of our students who's head of our women's and Rady group, and a fellow finalist, amazingly, I thought she was an alum, is in our MBA program. So we are doing great things at the Rady School of Management, and I'm so supported by my central leadership team. Chancellor Pradeep Khosla and Executive Vice Chancellor Elizabeth Simmons have been incredibly supportive for me, and I've had the opportunity to have Mary Walshok as one of my mentors and got to overlap with her. So let me know if you want to be engaged. So many incredible women here. We are really bringing equity, diversity, inclusion through the school, and part of that is through speaking and mentoring and being connected to our organization. So I really encourage you. We finished our strategic plan this last, actually during the pandemic, and of course, one of the pillars is inclusive excellence, as well as building long-lasting community partnerships. So I encourage all of you to stay connected with the Rady School of Management. Keep watching our programs. We are doing incredibly well, and I'm just so proud of all of us, and thank you for this today.
Okay, so the last winner in the medium-sized company category is Carolina Bravo Karimi. She is the managing partner at Wilson Turner Cosmo. At the end of last year, Carolina was named a managing partner at Wilson Turner Cosmo, and under her leadership, WTK doubled down on its commitment to diversity by hiring 17 diverse attorneys and a human resources director. Today, over 60% of WTK's partners are women. Nearly 80% of attorneys are women and 45% are minorities. And greater than 80% of all firm personnel are women or minorities. Wow. Great job. She recently launched WTK's pioneering diversity, equity, and inclusion practice group to work with industry-leading global organizations and educational institutions on large-scale DEI projects that promote workplace cohesion, attract and retain talent, create business opportunities, increase diversity data transparency, and reduce legal risk. For her work in this field of law, she received the San Diego County Bar Association's Service to Diversity Award, was named to Profiles in Diversity Journal's Latino Leaders Worth Watching Award, and was honored by San Diego Lawyers Super Lawyer. Please join me in congratulating Carolina. Unfortunately, Carolina was not able to attend today's event, and we will make sure she receives her award.
Okay, now I'd like to introduce Danny Schwimmer, commercial banker, vice president, JP Morgan Chase, who will announce our final category, the large company category.
Thanks, Barb. JP Morgan Chase is proud to be a sponsor of the San Diego Business Journal Women's Event, and it is my privilege to present the recipients in the large company category. The first winner in the large company category is Julie Moran, Managing Director and Office Managing Partner, Deloitte. For 21 years, Julie has led Deloitte's San Diego office, where she also leads a number of Deloitte account teams in the life science industry sector. Under her leadership, Deloitte has experienced massive growth. 3 years ago, the San Diego office employed around 400 people, and today sits at more than 900. Julie executed new and innovative methods to quickly onboard the nearly 450 professionals who joined the company at the start of the pandemic, encouraging a successful hybrid work model that allows for in-person collaboration as necessary and to build a sustainable and strong culture. She also recently led the efforts to design and execute the first Deloitte DE&I panel, hosted in the office with 50+ participants from panelists from Illumina, Quital Ortho, the SDSU DE&I Institute, and Connect. Julie also led efforts across several marketplace expansions that have resulted in 20% year-over-year revenue growth for Deloitte in San Diego. Please join me in congratulating Julie.
I first off want to thank San Diego Business Journal and Barbara for putting on a wonderful, inspiring event. This is fantastic. Second, congratulations to everybody in this room. We couldn't do this without each other, and we couldn't be successful without each other. So congratulations to all of you. I am incredibly grateful to work for an organization like Deloitte that not only allows me to do what I love doing professionally, solving problems for my clients, but also to give back to this community. I'm lucky to live in San Diego, and I'm lucky to be able to have an organization that stands behind me as I get involved in the marketplace and I get involved with all of the nonprofits and community organizations that are really making an impact. So many of you in this room have been instrumental in helping with education equity, health equity, and I can't say enough about the San Diego community, whether it's American Heart Association, Junior Achievement, Connect, Biocom, San Diego Workforce Partnership, San Diego Square, Life Sciences Cares. I mean, I could go on and on and on. And I'm just so proud and lucky to be able to help all of us here in San Diego make it one of the most amazing cities in the country. Thank you.
Okay, the next winner is Alexis Volin, Chief Operation Officer, Sire Equity. Under Alexis' leadership, Sire Equity has continued outperforming the market year after year. Her expertise in managing company assets and growing a high-performing team has helped lead Sire's portfolio to include more than $500 million of retail, office, industrial, and multifamily investments across the nation. She recently received her certification of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Mastery from SDS Global Enterprises, furthering her and Sire's commitment to that culture. Today, 50% of company leaders at Sire are women and 51% are minorities. She also earned a certification in Blue EQ, leading with psychological safety, and introduced psychological safety and emotional intelligence workshops at Sire. As a leader, Alexis believes everyone should be trained to create a culture with higher psychological safety and foster an environment that values innovation, creativity, engagement, and job satisfaction. Her initiatives in remote hiring and onboarding and in improving employee benefit packages led Sire to beat market turnover with only a 10% turnover in 2021. Please join me in congratulating Alexis.
Thank you so much. Very, very shocked, and as everybody else has said, but so honored to be amongst all these amazing women and people in this room today. You know, for us as a culture, it's just been embedded since the beginning to empower women and champion women and underrepresented folks in general. And so it's just a huge honor to be able to be up here and recognized for that. And I hope that we continue to disrupt an industry that has been historically underrepresented by women. And we have to do that by challenging the status quo. And, you know, I heard someone say be respectful, and I think we can do it in a respectful way, but we also have to stand up and disrupt things because change doesn't happen if we don't do that. So I encourage everyone in the room. It takes both the men, the women, everybody to do that. We need our upstanders of men and for everybody to say something. So really appreciate being here. Thank you so much for the award.
Okay, now the final winner in the large company category is Sarah Hussain, Global Director of Diversity and Inclusion, ResMed. In just 2 years at ResMed, Sarah has built a global team that focuses on an equitable approach to diversity and inclusion. She recently led the update of the company's code of conduct and employee handbooks with new language on anti-racism, anti-discrimination, and usage of bathroom of choice. Sarah also elevated awareness around accessibility in products and led ResMed through Global Accessibility Awareness Week in a series of learning activities. She also improved access for working mothers at ResMed, partnering with ResMed's facility team in Singapore and the US to put in expectant mother parking spots, quiet rooms, and updating the nursing rooms equipment and experience. Please join me in congratulating Sarah.
This is so beautiful. Thank you so much. A huge thank you to the San Diego Business Journal for creating this space that empowers all of us in this room and hopefully inspires the future generation of leaders. I was listening to everybody speak today, and the words inclusion, diversity, equity kept coming up, and it brought me so much hope, because as someone who's been a D&I practitioner for 8 years, you can have really rough days. You see the best and worst in people, and there's a lot of daily advocacy. And I love my job because there's a lot of community outreach, there's a lot of pipeline building with students, there's a lot of internal advocacy that you do with changing minds and changing hearts and raising awareness, and I love it for everything. So thank you for all of you that are embedding words like equity and belonging and inclusion in your daily values and in your businesses, because that's the way we are gonna see change. And thank you for recognizing all this work that we each do and we bring. I wanna thank my mother. I would not be here without her. She came with me today. It's so beautiful. I am literally here because of her. There have been nights where food appears because I don't know how to feed myself, and I'm a workaholic, and it's my mother who's really has carried me through it all. So thank you, and thank you to my team at ResMed, and also to my former team at Qualcomm, who really helped me grow and develop. And I also want to shout out to Deborah Rosen, who has been a huge mentor of mine in the community and has given me a lot of opportunity to grow here in San Diego as well. Thank you all, and congratulations to all the nominees.
All right, congratulations again to all the award winners and finalists. This concludes our program. Special thanks to our judges, panelists, and our sponsors. I'd like to remind everybody, you can read all about our honorees in our next publication, November 28th. And please, all the winners, if you could come back to the stage with the trophy so we can take a group picture. Again, enjoy your rest of your afternoon. Thank you for joining us.